Good evening and welcome to Omnibros Live. I'm Omnidog from Omnidog's Vault, joined by my good friend Gio from A Week in Geekdom. Gio, how's it going?
Doing pretty well, Jess. Welcome everybody to OmniBros Live. I am excited to be here once again.
And we are excited to have you here. We are also excited to be sponsored by InStockTrades.com, where you can get your collected editions up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts add 2% to that. Every quarter, there's an Omnibros Live discount code. Over $50 in the United States gives you free shipping. Fabulous customer service, fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com. Yoink da doing. We love in stock trades. So tonight we're going to be talking about managing your obsession.
Yeah, that sounds like a therapy book.
Right. That's right. This is the foreword to the therapy book, Managing Your Obsession, because we've all gone a little nuts from time to time.
Oh yeah.
In our hobbies. Could be multiple hobbies. It could just be comic books, but we've all been there. Gio and I have both had varying degrees of misfortune with Mother Nature, who forced downsizing upon us. I had a flood in 2017 that forced some downsizing upon me. Gio got devastated by Hurricane Maria back in
2017.
Back in 2017. I was going to say 2018, but it was like 2 years ago. Good heavens. And Mother Nature downsized for us. And it's a difficult, it can be very difficult to come back from something like that. But let's say we're more of an average comic fan who, let's say, is something as mundane as has run out of space, run out of cash. Wife has had it for any number of reasons. Let's start with the downsizing. We can also talk about budgeting. We can also talk about there's a possibility of going digital to help manage your hobby. That's a possibility. If Lou can make it on, he can talk about that. Lloyd Wong, actually, I'm already starting to downsize. As a matter of fact, slowly but surely, I am downsizing. I am putting more and more books up for sale. One thing that I have started to do to downsize that's helping me is I'm looking at my books, and I'm especially like Silver Age and Bronze Age, and I'm saying, am I really going to read this book? Am I ever really going to read this book? And if did I say A or one? I think I said A. So B, if I do if I have read it, am I going to reread it? So I really only want to keep books around that I'm going to reread. That's where I am now, because eventually, within the next 3 years, we're going to have to downsize, because I am that age where the house is too big for us. My daughter's moved out. My daughter's going to, do her own thing here pretty soon. And we're going to move into a condo, blah, blah, blah. And things like that. So I'm going to have to take all of this and move it into a smaller room, and I got to downsize. And so the first rule's got to be, what do I want to take with me? It's got to be something I want to reread. It's got to be something special.
Yeah, it has to be like this item that whenever you go back to it, there's a connection there. Even if you've read it before, it's something that you can fall back to and be like, I like this and I want to have this on my display because it means something to you. It's not just a review book or a throwaway item. It has to have like a special connection, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with that. And so I've started looking at my books a little differently recently. And so I have slowly but surely, because I do have time. That's why I started early. I have 3 years to do this. So I've been selling things. I start with the Omnibus Collectors group, and if they don't sell there, I will go to eBay, or I'd rather sell them on eBay because you can put pictures up there, and not Amazon because you can't post pictures there really anymore. So it's not an easy thing to downsize either. I think a lot of fans, I'm certainly susceptible to it, get emotionally attached to their collections.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's fun to have stuff. You know,
Yeah, totally.
it's fun to have a big collection of stuff. You sit down and you just say, this is my collection, and it is an extension of me, and it's fun. And there will be those who argue, is that healthy to have so much of you tied up into a collection? I don't know. I haven't seen my therapist in a while, so next time I see her, I will ask her that question. But that is a good question. But since I can't answer for my therapist, we're just going to go ahead and say collection's an extension of me. It represents my personality. These books do.
Yeah.
So, and I think that is what a lot of comic book fans have. Your collection, Gio, represents is a piece of you. It represents your tastes, and that's why it's so personal.
I always have like this dilemma in my head, and I never talk about it with anybody. It's very silly. Don't think I'm going to go too deep into it, but I have a dilemma because I'm like, on one hand, they're just books, but on the other hand, they're books. Like I really love them, and I love and I care for every single book, and I enjoy reading them. So I don't want to part with them. But at the end of the day, I'm like, they're things, and you can get rid of things. But I completely agree with you. It's sort of like this symbiotic relationship. They reflect your taste, and it's giving fandom like a tangible thing, like with pops or figures, or you can touch this thing that you like, and you pour your emotions on it. And it's silly as that might seem. It's fun, and it gets to a point where you look at your collection and I'm like, I really like looking at it.
Yeah.
It fills you with joy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's that dilemma again in my head. Like, should I be satisfied? Should I be like, no, I want to get rid of it and do like a minimalistic lifestyle? I don't know. I'm not an expert.
Well, you're an expert on what makes you happy.
Exactly. Good point.
Only we know that. We know what makes us happy. So that's I think that it's going to be. I mean, I've already started going through stuff. I've taken stuff to Second and Charles, which is a used. It sells vinyl. They've got pops, CDs, DVDs, movies, and comic books. Of course, I went there and I got the first time they give you a certain they give you a bin that you get to trade in 3 bins worth per day, and you get a certain amount of credit or a certain amount of cash. You know, it's double the credit of the cash.
Mhm.
And I found X-Men Messiah War, which I had been looking for. So I got rid of a huge stack of books and got Messiah War, and then I found Kemi Jacob Silver Surfer Requiem, which he had been looking for.
Nice.
So that was a good exercise. I got rid of a bunch of books, and I found Messiah War. And so I'm going to continue to take books to Second and Charles, continue to sell books online, and just slowly but surely, I got to purge and get down. Now, here's the thing. I'm a lot older than a lot of the people in the chat, and a lot of the people on the Omnibus group, and a lot, older than you are. A lot of these guys are just getting started out. I'm at I'm in the 7th inning, and a lot of you guys are in the 3rd inning. So I'm at the part where I'm closer to the retirement age, and you guys are actually just getting started. So yeah. I'm coming at this from a different perspective. So I'm coming at it from a different angle, but so we can talk about how to manage your collection so that it doesn't get out of control, because we've often seen on the Omnibus Collectors Comic Swap and Community Facebook page, I don't know if it's frequently, but every once in a while you see calls for help of people that have gone a little overboard.
Go a little wild. Yeah. It's I have issues with that, because I see a lot of people that are just buying and buying and buying and buying and buying more books instead of actually reading them. And then you've got a giant stack of paper that you're not going to go through, and you're suddenly knee deep in all these books. You're like, I need some help. I need to get rid of these things. So I always say, don't be in a rush to buy it. And then maybe splurge or a big edition or something. But yeah, a lot of people, especially in the group, I see it often. Like, I need to declutter. I need to do this. At the start of my collecting habits, I used to be like that, but I'm trying to cut back on it.
Yeah, or if we don't see a cry for help, we'll see people who are in the process of going to need to put out a cry for help. We'll see people who are just buying and buying and buying, and we're like, whoa, this person needs to slow down. So the idea is that you want to have a long career in comic books, because it's a fun hobby. It is. Here we go. Here's Lou. What's up, buddy?
Bitcoin. Hey. Put it all in Bitcoin.
Sure, Bitcoin.
Sell.
Or buy Movie Pass, the company.
There you go. Who's that guy that's like the fire cell guy or whatever it is? That he's super active or whatever. He's got a TV show.
I forgot his name. I know who you're talking about, but I forgot his name.
I don't know.
Is it the Matt Money guy?
Yeah.
Oh, Jim Cramer?
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. First of all, Jesse Saywat says, I always saw you as a Bobby Bonilla of comic books, Jess. That is a a major Easter egg of a reference. Bobby Bonilla is going to be paid by the Mets until like the year 2035, $1 million a year. It's the craziest contract ever. I think it's like 2000. What are we in? 2019. I think his contract goes to like 2030. Can you look it up?
2035.
2035. Yeah.
And he doesn't have to do shit.
Oh, he wakes up and cashes a check.
Yep. He's set for life.
Yeah.
I envy that guy.
I want to be him.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I think. And does it say when his last at bat for the Mets was? Like year 2000?
Let me check. Bobby, when he last played in 2001
How do you get
for the Cardinals.
Oh, he didn't even play for the Mets.
Mets that was in '99. Then Atlanta in 2000, and then St. Louis in 2001.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, boy.
How do you even get that deal?
I don't know. But there's a lot of good cultural pulls in here. Tobias Funke, Rick Nelson just said, from Arrested Development. There are dozens of us. He's, of course, a never dude.
I love Arrested Development.
I do too. Where I got sidetracked, which is easy to do. So the point I was trying to make is you do want to set a budget for yourself because it is a fun hobby. You don't want to overspend, especially at your guys' age. You don't want to get into a hole early.
Yeah.
And
Guilty.
yeah, I understand. You don't want to get in a hole early because you've got a long life ahead of you and you want to pace yourself. I'll tell you who does a good job of that, and that is because his wife cracks the whip hard, and that's Ryley. Ryley has a budget that he sticks to pretty hard, and his wife is Megan is a stickler for details on that, and but that's why the budget works. And if you can be good on a budget and stick to that budget and buy what's important to you that month, and put some trade paperbacks further along. I'll get that thing in May, I'll get that thing in June. You're going to be a lot happier because you won't be grabbing things off the shelves and have no money left, for groceries or whatever. So
yeah, that's true.
I mean, yeah, that's happened to me on occasions. This year, I set it upon myself to not necessarily like a super strict budget, but more like a one order a month kind of thing. Because in the past, I would be in a frenzy and I'd see like this thing is coming out this week, and then the other week there's something else, and then you end up paying for basically a $50 weekly subscription, if you will, to different websites because you're buying books left and right. Whereas, just get like one or two or three items that you really love, and then that extra money, if you're a fan of other hobbies, hey, you can use that to fuel other hobbies and keep a harmonious balance, if you will, on your collecting.
Well, I will say I think you can get. I will admit to having had too many hobbies at one point. Where you can see behind me that I got pops and action figures and omnibus and statues. We've got some sideshow statues up there too.
They're glorious.
I know I don't regret those statues for a minute, but and I'm totally guilty of this. I don't want anybody thinking I'm coming off as somebody pure because I'm not. I'm just as guilty as the next guy. But I was at a point probably around 2016 where I just was collecting too much of everything, and you have to. I had to rein myself in, and I think 2017 maybe is when Lewis McGregor and I did our first budget video that resonated with so many people because I knew I needed help myself, and Lewis was good on budget help. So you have to set parameters for yourself in order to stay in the game, or you will spend yourself out of the game.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Though I do miss 2016, Jess. He was fun.
Oh.
I will say I was under the influence of all the pain meds from my knee replacements.
We'll go with that.
That I was 6 months on pain meds made me want to spend money. So, yeah, I'm sure I was fun.
Sure, I can get that Mara statue. We could go another week without groceries.
Who needs food anyways?
You can. Hey,
Right.
how long can you live without food? Would you need water? It's 3 days with water, 3 days without water, 2 weeks without food. There you go.
Something like that. Hey, and an adorable co-host. There you go.
Oh.
Oh, she gone.
Yeah, we're not playing fetch.
I'm like you said, Jess. Books. I got statues, pops, action figures, anime, manga, regular movies. It's way too much. We're cursed and we're blessed at the same time. And I say that because we're blessed to live in an era where there's so much out there. There's so many things out there to consume, and we're cursed because if you guys are like me, you kind of want to have a little bit of everything, and you want to have that thing. I don't like for movies and stuff. I'm not a huge fan of digital stuff because I'm old school. I started collecting way back in 1999. I started collecting movies on DVD, and previously with VHSs and all that stuff. I liked the act of having a library of content that if the internet goes out, I still got them and I can still watch them. And you know, it's painful. It's blissful and it's painful at the same time.
Yeah, you're right. It's a blessing and a curse that there's so much stuff out there for us to collect, but we all have to hit sort of a breaking point and say enough is enough. I gotta stop this and get realistic and really, get real and say this is it.
Yeah, and games. I forgot about games.
Oh my god. And they've made that way too easy now with downloading.
Oh,
yeah.
With digital downloading, yeah, it's totally easy.
Yeah. The concept of PayPal and Wi-Fi is just ridiculous now.
It's the devil's work. I swear.
It is. I mean, the fact that you could just sit in your chair and you've got a game all of a sudden show up on your hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, out of nowhere.
Right.
Yeah. One of the things I do for, if anybody's wondering, I left the action figure game completely. I cut it out completely out of my life. I'm happy with what I got. One of the things I do for like statues and stuff, I try to just get a set limit of characters, and I don't like repeating characters. For example, I love Aquaman, but I am not, as painful as it sounds, well, to me anyways, I'm not going to get every single thing out of that character because essentially I'm buying the same plastic or the same resin or PVC all over again, where I could use that for another thing. So I just get like that one cool item and then I move on to something else and not obsess about owning the same thing multiple times.
Make Havoc says there's a lot of quitter talk on here. Yeah. So
you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
The idea is that this is just how this is not going to be a lecture from me at all, because I have been guilty of everything that I'm saying, of buying too much, spending too much and finding myself in a hole and saying, I got to stop. Stopping and budgeting to a much better extent. It's that I'm just hopeful that you guys are all half my age, and I'm just hoping that you would look around you at people that you see spending too much and just say, I got to set a budget. I got to stick to my budget. And just so you can buy more longer later, so you can 5 years from now you can still be buying stuff and enjoying it, and not blow your wad all at once right now because there's 19 Omnis coming out in the next 2 months.
But I want them.
Yeah, we're always going to have new stuff coming out. So
yeah,
I want
it's never going to end.
There's also, there's the option I took. There's digital.
Right.
Let's face facts, guys. You're really not going to read the 30 omnibuses that you buy in the year. Like, very few of you guys are actually going to go through every single book you are buying throughout the year. And some of these guys with the mega hauls, by all means, buy whatever you want, whatever makes you happy within reason, just as long as you're not living outside of my house with a cardboard box. But the reality is you're probably not going to get through those 4 or 5 omnibuses anytime soon, and they're just going to collect dust on the shelves. So you have to realize, well, with the advance of technology and with the advance of Marvel Unlimited and now the DC app, which they're putting in everything from DC's catalog, except for the stuff that is less than a year old, you can save a lot of money by going that route. I mean, the Marvel Unlimited app, I think it's like $10 a month, and the DCU app is $7 a month right now. So for that, you're getting everything that Marvel has put out up to 6 months before today, and with the DC app up to a year. And they have just started. Me and Gio, I looked at it today, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier, where they have just started updating it with everything they have.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's still a lot of stuff, there's still a lot of stuff missing from it. Like, I looked today, the first thing I checked was like, well, do they have the entirety of Scott Snyder's run? They have it up to issue, I think, like 39. So my guess is that this is going to take a while. There's a lot of content that they have to put into this app. So my guess is that they're still going through all that stuff. And the app's still a little bit rough around the edges, but give it time. Give it time, and they're just going to keep getting better and better. The Shonen Jump app for manga, when that first launched, that was a mess. It was really hard to navigate. It was really hard to remember what chapter you were on. They didn't have stuff like that. Now it's a whole different app. It is so much better. And that's another route for you manga collectors out there. For $1 a month, you are getting the entire Shonen Jump catalog. That is insane. $1 a month. And the thing is, it's not like you're waiting 6 months for the newest chapter or anything. They update it the minute it comes out every Sunday. You get the newest chapters of your favorite manga. There's so many options to cut costs if you're going that route.
Yeah, Mary M brings up Hoopla, and that is a great thing if your library is progressive and forward-thinking enough to actually use it. Mine is one of the biggest library systems in the country, and it doesn't use Hoopla. It has Overdrive, and it has like 15 graphic novels in it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. My libraries are few, and they're like 10 years back in the Stone Age, so I can't use it.
Mine is absolutely appallingly. I mean, they don't have Hoopla, and it's just ridiculous. Fangirl Kristan, when we were doing our Underappreciated Gems show, she would just keep pulling up her cell phone going, yep, it's on Hoopla, yep, it's on Hoopla, yep, it's on Hoopla. She's got the greatest library around.
For reference, Gio's libraries, they're up to date with up to President Bush right now.
Yeah, not a lot of
Senior.
not a lot of people
Senior,
go
not junior, senior.
senior. I don't know. It's a bit backwards.
You guys are pretty far back as far as the library system over there, right?
It like there's not like what's the word I'm looking for? Like the culture for it. Everybody just goes home. It's not like normal stateside where there's this whole subculture about the library and spending time in it. Everybody just goes home and you go to the library to do your homework, I guess, and that's it. I never went to a library per se. I studied at a private school, and they had their own mini library thing, but it wasn't the same. So yeah. So things like Hoopla and the other app, I forgot the name, I can't use them over here. So
Yeah.
that's not an option. The Shonen Jump app, I actually do want to get because I have no room for manga. The only room I have is for One Piece volumes and My Hero Academia. That's it. So I really want to get that app and read the manga digitally, legally.
Legally.
That's the key. And the DC app, people keep in mind that not only is it housing comics, but movies, TV shows, and whatever other stuff they want to cram in there, it's going to be heavy. I am pretty damn sure those servers are packed and they're trying to fit everything so that it works. It's not like the Marvel Unlimited thing where it's just comics. This is a media hub. This is like Netflix and comic store combined. So you got to be a little bit patient.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's still rough around the edges. Like the zoom in isn't that great and stuff like that, but it's only going to get better with time. And you nailed it right on the head. It's not just a comic book app. This is their streaming service. You're getting everything that DC has put out and original content that's coming out, for however long that is. Somebody mentioned in the chat that they predict it's just going to be merged with Warner Brothers, and I could totally see them just merging everything with the Warner Brothers app in the future, which is unfortunate. But Swampy got cut this week, so that doesn't bode well for the future of the app.
That makes me nervous.
That does too. It makes me pretty nervous.
I want to believe that they want to test it out first.
Yeah,
because it's an expensive production, and if it's well received, then they'll pick the series up again. Hopefully,
it has. I mean, I think they just went over budget. I think that they got a few episodes in, and then the producers or whoever saw what they were spending, and they were like, "How much did you spend?"
He looks really good. In the little teaser, I dug him. He looks badass.
He looks badass. Well, we'll talk about that on Sunday. Back to budgeting.
Yeah, DC went over its budget on Swamp Thing. Yeah, so I've been on a pretty strict budget ever since for a couple years now. I've hauled much less than I have. And part of that is because my wife now actually watches my channel, so I can't have haul videos anymore. So I just can't haul as much as I used to. So I definitely have stuck to a budget, and I definitely I've run out of space for action figures, so I've stopped getting those. I've run out of space for statues. I got my last statue. Told Gio about it. That is Mira. I got the last one. That's the last statue I have room for. Don't have room for any more bombshells even. The last bombshell I got was, I think, Green Lantern. Jessica Cruz was the last one I got. Which is a pretty cool one.
Yeah.
So that's really it. And it's kind of a blessing that I've run out of space because I just don't have any place to put it. I'm not going to be somebody that leaves stuff in the unfinished part of the basement, just stacked up a bunch of boxes of statues. That's just not
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to have them to enjoy them, not just buy them to stick them in the crummy part of the basement. So,
Mm-hmm.
new channel for Jess, the Han Protocols.
Yeah. This is where we teach. This is where we teach you how to lie to your friends and family to get the stuff you want, so they don't get mad at you.
Honestly, just hand in heart, is your life dramatically better after budgeting? Is it dramatically better? The honest answer is no. Benjamin,
We're keeping it real.
But I have a life because I have a budget.
See, there you go. Look at him. He's miserable. He's lost a bunch of weight. I don't even recognize him anymore.
3 years ago, I was fat and happy, drunk on milkshakes and buying books. So, yeah, I'm a different guy. But I have a life still, so.
It's like the opposite of those before and after pictures you want to see. He's like all happy with fat. Like he's miserable when he lost a bunch of the weight.
So, excuse me. So we've got the idea of the budget, and we've got the idea of downsizing. That's important too, because a lot of young guys move frequently. I know when I was young, I moved a lot.
Yeah.
From apartment to apartment, small house to a little bit bigger house to, the house to finally the house we lived in. And so the idea of having a bunch of stuff to move, that's one reason I am downsizing now and not buying stuff, is because I don't want to move it. That is, 75 boxes of books is not an appealing idea to me. So I know to a lot of young guys out there who have to, if you're moving every 2 years or something, you want to keep your collection pretty small. There's a reason to be digital, and there's a reason to be really picky on your books, is because you have to move a lot.
Yep, true.
Yeah.
Very true.
And a lot of people in the group, or on the groups, I'm not going to judge, fall into the trap of envy. Like somebody will post a picture and it's like 40. I got 40 books in the month of, what month is this? April. So you're like, shit, now I need to buy 40 or 50 books because this guy has 40. And you're not going to read it. Eventually, when you look back, you only wanted like one thing and you ended up with 39 other things that you don't need, and it keeps going and going and going, and then you have like this mountain of things that they're just sitting there. You're not enjoying it, and you're like, I have everything, but I haven't read it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And it's difficult, especially for us, that we're trying to provide a service for people and being like these online presence, if you will, with social media and YouTube channels and all that stuff. There is sort of that underlying competition, if you will. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, where like sometimes you'll get judged because you don't have a certain thing, and you're like, oh, well, I guess I need to keep buying books because I'm going to review them and do stuff on YouTube and social media and get the likes and the favorites. It's very easy to fall into that, and I'm trying since last year to not go into that mindset. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
I know that that thing in particular really frosts Ryley a lot when he'll do a haul video and someone will say, you really need to have My Hero Academia 8 through 12 or your collection's not complete. That really pisses him off when somebody says something like that. I know that bugs him to the max.
I mean, yeah, just A collection is your collection.
Right.
It's not their. You enjoy what you enjoy, and it doesn't matter if you have 1 book or 20 books. That's what you like. You don't need 100, 2,000. I don't know. But I just fear that a lot of people in the groups tend to fall into that sort of mindset, and it can be quite dangerous. It's the same as being addicted to alcohol or food or sugar, whatever. It's an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah. I've had to admit I have a very addictive personality, so I dive headfirst into a lot of hobbies and things like that. And, before you know it, you end up with about a $2,000 surround sound speaker set and a $1,000 in your living room, which is badass.
You get usage out of it.
You do, and speakers, that's an investment because they will. You're gonna keep those for like 10, 15 years.
Yeah. Like with video games, for example, nowadays what I do, I get 1 game, and I make sure that I don't get another one for 2 reasons. I gotta finish it eventually, and if you just wait a couple more months, instead of $60, you can probably get it for 30 or $40, and you're saving yourself money. Games are not gonna go extinct. They're not gonna go out of print.
That's a good point.
Unfortunately, yeah. So,
yeah, that is a good point.
My Switch library, I just have like 3 games, and I have not played any of them. So I don't want to get any new ones because I know I need to finish those 3 first. And I'm trying to apply that to books, manga, not so much, anime, not so much because it's different. But with books, I'm trying to do that because there's way too much out there.
And I mean, relatively speaking, a lot of the stuff that we tend to collect, with the exception, like the actual comic books collections and trades and stuff like that. Even then, you can get lucky. A lot of that stuff drops in price relatively soon after it comes out. Video games, especially, you can wait a month and the video game will be cut in half as far as their price.
Is that right? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I picked up on that.
No, 100%. I mean, a lot of people have become agitated lately because they'll buy a game on launch day and then like a month later, oh, it's for $30, $40 right now.
Yep.
Wow.
I got the God of War game, the Spider-Man one, and something else for like 40 and 50. So it was a couple bucks less that I could save for something else.
True. You're right. Did you guys talk about selling your stuff, like what you don't need and things like that?
Oh, I'm a horrible seller. I can't. I suck at it.
I've gotten a lot more cutthroat. Yeah, I discussed that it's going to be stuff that that I've gotten very picky. It's stuff that I either I'm looking at stuff now and saying, I'm not going to read that. I'm never going to read that. And so I'm selling it. Or if I've read it, I want to reread it. So it's either rereadable or readable at all.
Yeah, no, that's a perfectly good point. Like the stuff, okay, for example, like if you got stuff from a writer that you don't care for, like Jess and I, we don't care for Robert Kirkman. Why would we keep that stuff? Like, why would you keep it? You might as well just end up selling it, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like Chris Ware. Why would I buy a Chris Ware book just because everybody else has it? No, that doesn't make sense to me. So if I do end up with it, I might as well just get rid of it. I'm not going to get to it, and I'm not really going to get any enjoyment out of it. Same thing goes for anything Kelly Sudakonic's written. I don't care for her writing. There's always the one nerd that's mad at me.
How dare you, sir?
Refraining from saying anything else. I don't care for her writing, so why am I gonna even buy something just because it's the hot item to get? I do tend to see that also, that people, they'll buy a bunch of books and they're like, yeah, I really don't care for this writer, but everybody's buying it, so I'll jump on the bandwagon and buy it too. You can't tell me that everybody that's bought those Conan omnibuses were genuinely interested in reading Conan.
That is crazy. That is really remarkable where that came from. That seemed to come out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think a lot of that, I mean, I shouldn't judge anybody's buying habits, but I do think a lot of that Conan stuff was mostly coming from the speculation market too.
I wouldn't be surprised. Because
Especially
it seemed to come out of the blue.
The Colossal Conan, was it? That everybody went nuts about before it went out of print?
The Colossal, you mean the original big thing or the skinnier ones? Oh, okay.
Ones. Yeah. Everybody was going nuts over those books.
Yeah.
And they were out for a long time on the chunky trade paperbacks. But since it wasn't a hot item, people were not craving for Conan. But as soon as they said it's out of print, and everybody went into like mass hysteria. I'm like, guys, these books were out for ages. Now that you put those out, now you want to get them? I don't know.
Yeah, I've always been a diehard Conan fan, man. Okay.
I have a couple of them. I'm not really sure it's for me. I kind of, I don't know. I may end up selling them because I don't really like them that much. I don't know.
This is a perfect example. I like that he brought it up. Remember the Valiant hype train of 2016 and how fast that crashed into the wall?
Yeah.
The Valiant hype train crashed into the wall of reality real quick.
Yep.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And not to mock Valiant, because Valiant does have genuinely some really great fucking books, like some really, really good stuff. Exo Manowar.
Harbinger, Exo Manowar, yeah.
They've got some really, really good stuff there, but man, off of a recommendation, what was it? It was a joking thing that Ryley and I said, saying, "Oh yeah, I think this is going to be the year of Valiant is going to really take off. Like their books are great. Some of the stuff is going out of print." And then it was like the next morning, everybody was cleaning out in-stock trades of everything Valiant.
That was remarkable.
And then like a month later, all you were seeing is people selling Valiant books on a Facebook group.
I think it was around January, I want to say 2016, the hype train.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Well, there's that fear of missing out right there. That's part of managing your hobby.
Another thing is that people, like I know absolutes and omnibuses, they're nice. Don't get me wrong. But if you don't know about the series, are you really going to dish out hundreds of dollars for something you don't really know about? I'm a cheap bastard. I'll go for the trade. I'll go for the cheapest option. If I can go to Amazon and find it banged up for like a couple bucks, I'll do that. And if I really like it, then I'll look into maybe upgrading it or something. But I don't know. Like, what was the other book that I saw recently? The Ink Owl. They did like that super duper awesome edition. Some people were like, is this good? I don't know. I'm going to get it. I don't know if it's good. I'm going to buy it. Okay. You're going to spend like $200? Sure. More power to you, son. But I'd rather get like the $20 book and enjoy the story, which is the main purpose of a book, is actually reading the story.
No.
I know.
But it looks so pretty on my shelf.
That's true. It's pretty snazzy.
It does look good on the shelf.
I have what's the other book I'm collecting? Sandman. I love Sandman, but I don't have all the absolutes because they're so pricey. I'm like, do I really need all those expensive books? I had the trades and I gave them away because I wanted the absolutes. Now I'm just stuck with the first 2 volumes, and I don't know if I want to continue collecting the series or not. I know it's a masterpiece, whatever.
Not to mention, Sandman's one of those books that they've adapted into pretty much every single format that's out there, and they keep putting out new editions every couple of. I'm pretty sure one of these days they're going to announce Sandman pocket-sized editions, kind of like those pocket-sized Bibles that you can get. They are trying their hardest to sell as many of those books as they can. I love Sandman. Don't get me wrong, but we don't need a new edition every 6 months.
It's Sandman and Watchmen. Those 2 things are just evergreen.
Yeah. 100%. They will never be. You will never have to worry about not finding a Sandman comic. Ugh.
Tips for selling omnibuses in the group. You have to sell them cheaper than IST is selling them.
If you can knock down shipping prices, that's a big plus for people.
Yeah, ship them dirt cheap and sell them cheaper and package them well and sell them cheaper than IST, or you won't move anything.
That's true. And don't try to sell above cover in the group.
Yeah, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Is there a book you couldn't see yourself getting rid of?
Oh, that's easy. All my Aquaman books. My Aquaman books and the JMS Spider-Man trades, the Ultimate collections.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to get the Omnibus simply because I have an emotional attachment to those 5 books. Because the first ever trade I bought was Batman Hush. But when I got into comic book collecting per se, it was Spider-Man by JMS, those 5 books. Those were the catalyst, if you will. That's what kickstarted my addiction. And I love that story so much, except the One More Day bullshit. But everything else, it's near and dear to my heart, so I can never sell those books. And and the Hellboy libraries. They're so magnificent and so beautiful. I can't see myself parting ways with them. They're so pretty on the shelf.
Those are beautiful books, man.
Mm-hmm.
They are fantastic looking books.
But everything else, it's expensive. Maybe the Fourth World Omnibus, because that is like I could kill somebody with that. You never know. Somebody tries to break in, I'm like, hold on a minute, I'll get the book, and it'll either stop a bullet or I can throw it at him and kill him.
They're gonna lift it up. They're gonna go, oh shit, it's the Fourth World Omnibus, and they just run out the room.
Yeah.
That's how you know they watch the show, if they try to break in your house and they say that.
One of my, and I'll be honest with you guys, Annihilation Omnibus, I got it when it first came out, and then when I saw everybody going nuts over it, for the first time in my life, I went, I got that thing. But I love cosmic stories, so I don't think I'll ever get rid of that one.
Wasn't there a point?
But yeah, Fourth World.
Wasn't there a point where people just kept hounding you to find them an Annihilation Omnibus?
What's that now?
Oh my god! Yeah.
Wasn't there a point, Jess, where people kept hounding you to find the Annihilation Omnibus for them?
A couple years ago, yeah, when I got done with the Great West Coast Omni trip, and I was finding all those books, I cleaned out Northern California. I was getting regularly. People were sending me PMs for Annihilation. Yeah, yeah, I was getting them regularly for Annihilation.
For those of you in the chat, a couple of years ago, Jess went on when Jess was fat and happy. Jess went on a giant West Coast Omni purge where he visited, like, what was it? How many comic shops in the span of a few days? It was crazy.
Oh my gosh. I was in Northern California, and then I was in Portland, Oregon, visiting with Nate Burkholz, where we visited 8 in Portland alone. I must have visited 25 comic shops.
And you were finding some good stuff, man.
Oh yeah, I was finding a lot of out of print things, multiple copies of things too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was posting things day by day, telling people, just showing off things, and somebody would say, "Can you find me this?" And I was feeling so cocky, I'd be like, "Yeah, I'll find you that today." And I'd go out and, like, first comic shop I'd go to in Sacramento or something, I'd find it. And so multiple copies of House of M or something, and just crazy things. It was it was a magical time, man. I was able to just find anything out of print I wanted, just about, except on Annihilation. I couldn't find that. I mean, this was 2016, and it was, you know, even then it was scarce.
Was Annihilation a low print run? Was that what it was?
I think that my understanding is they only printed like 3,000 copies. That's what the problem was.
That makes sense.
I think I bought mine from an eBay seller for like $80 when it.
Damn.
But that was like a year after it went. A year after it came out, it was still in print. I think
It was reprinted though.
It was?
I don't think it was reprinted.
I don't think it was.
I'm thinking of something else then. I thought it was reprinted.
No, I think that they topped out at like 3,000, and Conquest was like 9,000. That's why they ended up having to clearance it, because they did so many more copies of it.
Wonder what's Annihilation going for right now? Let's take a look.
Same with Fantastic Four, the Hickman Omnibus.
Oh, that went out quick.
Yeah, I got that for less than cover price.
God damn.
I don't know. I was lucky enough to get them when they were coming out.
$182 so far and 2 bids. There's a $350 one or best offer with 23 watchers. $490 one for those big spenders out there. $500 one. Yeah, some of these aren't going to, there's no way these are going to sell. That $182 one, that'll definitely sell though. And they have 5 days left on it. Somebody's going to get a nice cut.
What,
check it
what
out
do they say? What are some of the sold ones? What's the filter for sold?
Second. You can get, I mean, it's not a terrible deal, but it's not a great deal either. Somebody's selling both of them, Annihilation and Annihilation Conquest, for $400. Not the best deal, but it's probably going to end up cheaper to get them both that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what do the sold say?
Let's see. First shipping. Where the hell do I see that?
That's down the left side.
At the end, it says show only.
Sold items. Here we
Mm-hmm.
go. $325. So there was one that sold recently for $365, but that was both books. They got Annihilation Conquest and Annihilation sealed. Somebody lucked out. They got it for $232. God damn.
I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
There's just one thing I got to do really quick.
Somebody got it for 200. 200 in that 200 ballpark seems to be what it's going for. 203.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What about Hickman Fantastic Four? I'm really curious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Volume 1 is going for about $200, $255. You can get both of them for about $425.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of moolah.
Yep. There's one right now that has 14 bids on it, and it's at $360. Oh, you idiots.
Oh.
Well, these are sold. So that means somebody paid $360 for a Volume 1 Hickman Omnibus. You stupid idiot.
I mean, like, Hickman is back at Marvel, so I'm pretty sure they might want to do reprints in the future.
But Gio, $360 for one volume.
You know how much stuff I could get, other stuff I could get for $300? Jesus.
Do you know how much weed I can buy for $360?
Jeez. Yeah.
Somebody said he's going to go bid on that Annihilation book, right? Some other sold ones, $290. 338. Cheat? What? Wow. Man, I would never pay this much for a single book.
No.
But hey, Gio, where would I never have to worry about paying that much online?
Oh, my friend, the answer is quite easy. You got to instocktrades.com where you can get up to an X amount of money that I completely forgot about. I'm horrible at this plug, and Jess has just arrived, and he will continue doing that plug in 3, 2, 1. Please do continue, sir.
InStockTrades.com, where you can get your collected editions up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts add 2% to that. Orders over $50 in the United States get you free shipping. Every quarter there's an OmniBros discount code where you get extra percentages off. Fabulous discounts. It gets you fabulous customer service and fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com.
Nice. Because I wanted to imitate your script, and I completely butchered it. I forgot what it was.
Oh.
I tried repeating that line, and I completely forgot. I'm like, oh, crap. I screwed the pooch.
That's funny.
So just for reference, Volume 1 of Hickman goes for about $350 online.
Volume 1 of Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
$350?
Yep.
And Annihilation was going for what?
In that $300 to $400 range. Some lower ones were $200.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot of weed.
A lot of weed. Well, I read Annihilation a couple of months ago, and I have to say, that wasn't my favorite story ever. I liked Fantastic Four by Hickman a lot more.
Same.
Holy smoke.
Look, guys, if you really want to read those Annihilation books, there's the Marvel Unlimited app, and you can go to IST and you can get the complete collections.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
those are great ways to read that.
That's sure what I would do. It's not the greatest story I've ever read. I mean, it's okay, but I mean, that's a completionist mentality that wants to pay $300 for that.
Yeah. No book is worth it.
You can go to IST and get Annihilation Complete Collection for $40, and you have the whole thing.
Is that both books?
Yeah, $20 each.
There you go.
And let's see, Fantastic Four. I think they have a complete collection too. Let's see.
They do. They put those out earlier, like a year or two ago.
Yeah. I think they only came out with one complete collection, but it's $20. You can read it too. There are options. Don't limit yourself because of a huge price tag. Don't get baited into buying a really expensive book if you don't know if you are going to love it. And if you do love it and you don't have it and you want to spend that much, go right ahead.
Yeah. Or hey, man, I mean, you never know who our audience is. If you are like a prince in Saudi Arabia or something like that, and you want to go ahead and buy it, that's perfectly fine. And my email address is lcarrero89. If you want to throw me a couple grand, that'd be nice too. It always surprises me when we get people in the chat saying, "Hey, I'm listening from like Saudi Arabia," or "I'm listening from like a foreign land like Canada or something like that." I'm like, wow, we have fans from all over the world.
We had somebody in the chat is from Sri Lanka, I think.
I know. That's awesome.
Wow.
It's like 7 a.m. there.
It's awesome to hear that stuff. Like, wow,
we're
reaching people around the world.
We are their morning show. That's awesome.
Their morning show.
Yeah.
The morning zoo in Sri Lanka. Hey, coming at you.
Welcome to Omnidog in the morning. Do they still do? Well, you work at a radio station. Do they still do that stuff, Gio?
Oh, that was so 90s. And like when I record promos and stuff, I try to stay away from that stuff. But there are a lot of old school guys that still like they want to cram in like 40 effects on a voice track. I'm like, you don't need it. It's cool because it's like a throwback, but you don't really need it. And they go crazy, like forever and now. I'm like, okay, you're fighting a galactic war. I don't know know what's happening.
He got lasers firing off.
Hey, just stick exactly. You just stick a reverb, a couple bass tones, and then just call it a day. You don't need to, whatever.
You do have the voice for radio.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't think so, but everybody says so. So
yeah, you definitely do.
Have you ever hosted? Like you've hosted, right? For a few hours.
I've always liked. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've done AM shows. I've done FM stuff. I've hosted shows for like 2 hours. I've done a little bit of everything.
That's cool, man.
But I mostly like recording and editing. The post-production stuff. No, the production stuff. Sorry. And I've always I've been a fan since I'm gonna say when I was in the 10th grade, maybe. When I first learned what a voice actor was, I've always loved it, and that's kind of like my bucket list thing to animate, to voice an animated character. That's one of my dream goals in life. Yeah. Anime or a regular cartoon or I don't know, something.
El Molusco? Gio, you look like El Molusco, but sexy? I don't know what that is.
Who's El Molusco?
Some dude that was a FM jockey, and like he wants to be like this Howard Stern type of guy, and like he's a social media influencer now, and whatever. It means small in Spanish.
God, I can't stand a lot of those social media influencer guys.
Yeah.
When I was watching the Fire Festival,
Mm-hmm.
when I was watching those docs for the Fire Festival, I was laughing my ass off the whole time.
Oh, that was insane.
I was laughing. I was like, you douchebags. Any other tips you want to give?
I think I had one, but I forgot.
Thanks,
social
Gabriel.
media.
Thanks, Gabriel.
Right on, man.
The super chat tip is always appreciated.
Harley
Nice.
Duck is happy. That's right. Harley Duck's happy here on the Omnidog Morning Show here in Sri Lanka.
If we had a soundboard, this is where Gio would put in all the explosions and stuff.
Okay. Here's another tip. If you're collecting, don't go overboard with a little bit of everything. Try to concentrate on your favorite character, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I do DC stuff, I mostly concentrate on Aquaman. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any a large quantity of books like Batman or Superman, but I mostly go for Aquaman, and then everything else is second. For Marvel, it's either Spider-Man or cosmic stuff, like Inhumans, Fantastic Four, etc. And everything else, it's either because I have a strong recommendation from one of you guys, or I don't know, something piqued my curiosity and I found it for cheap. If not, I'll just try and stick to that. And with Image and all the other titles, those $9.99 trade paperbacks, they're great, and you don't waste a lot of space with them. So don't immediately go out and get like the Avengers $500 slipcase with 100 books on them, where you can just get one trade for like $15 and enjoy it.
Yeah, I'll add to that if you wonder if something's any good, a lot of times Comixology will have the first issue free, or you can find it on Comixology Unlimited. Yeah. And that's a good way to find out if a series is any good without your having to go out and spend $12 to $15 on a book. You can save money that way too. Yeah.
And we have the internet today. There's so many online resources, and you can look up, for example, if you like Bendis, you can look up Bendis's best runs, or If you like Daredevil, best Daredevil comic book runs of the past few years, stuff like that. And you can narrow it down even that far. Like you don't need over 1,000 issues of Action Comics, because chances are if you read over 1,000 issues of Action Comics, you still won't know exactly what's going on in Action Comics.
Mm-hmm. Plus, by the very nature of comics, it's cyclical. So eventually, if you read 1,000 comics, you're reading mostly the same thing, just spun around different times.
Yep, Superman's fast and he punches things.
I mean, yeah. Nowadays, I don't try to keep up with current stuff. I go back and get like famous storylines or runs that I want to read, and that's a much simpler way of collecting.
Like Metal, Jesus Christ.
Metal. I'm gonna read Metal for everybody, and I'll try and get a review out Monday on the Hall show.
Metal.
Yeah.
We need to read Terrifics. Keep hearing that's pretty good.
There's a Batman that it's called The Drowning, and it's I'm very angry about that character. I'll talk about it later. Because the character does something to another character that I was like, that's just wrong. But
it's not the Puerto Rican one, is it? Anyone?
No. It has to do with the Aquaverse, if you will.
Ah, okay. Did Kelly Sue write it?
No. Unfortunately, or fortunately.
So I think, does it feel like we've helped people set a budget, help them downsize their collection, help them manage their obsession, their hobby? We've given some insight in there.
I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah. I hope we were able to help you guys. We've covered this once before, I think, but I hope we were able to help you guys out. It's this stuff is kind of important. If you're going to be in the collection game for a long time, it's really important to pace yourself, and it's really important to budget yourself, because otherwise, omnibuses are cool, but are you going to build your house around them? So,
Two people said no.
Nice.
Dan
Arsenault
says, I want more books.
And you are free to do that as long as you do it with a sponsor.
Yeah. If you're healthy about it and you've got the money and the space and you don't mind at all, go right ahead and buy everything. God bless. But if you're on a budget and you're worried about that stuff, then maybe try and spend a few bucks less. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. Marie Kondo's a big.
I've set goals for myself. Oh, that lady.
Yeah.
I've never seen that show.
No, I don't need that in my life at this moment.
Has your wife seen it yet, Jess?
No.
I'm really surprised she hasn't. It's huge right now.
She even has a manga version of her thing.
Wait, what?
What?
The manga about the lady and collecting and all that stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. Let me check out the name.
Her thing is more of get rid of the stuff that doesn't make you happy. So, Robert Kirkman stuff doesn't make you happy, you get rid of it.
I agree with that.
Called The Life-Changing Manga of Tidying Up, a Magical Story by Marie Kondo. It's an actual manga book about her show, I guess.
I kind of want to check that out, actually.
Yep. That's funny. Yeah, well, actually, somebody asked what our first Omni or Absolute was. My first Absolute was Absolute Hush.
I'm so sorry.
I like that book. God,
I like it.
You might be more elitist than Omar. Holy smoke!
Hush is good for one reason, just to see Jim Lee's drawing.
Well, yeah, his art is amazing.
His art is amazing in that book. That's the main draw of that book.
Yeah,
I think after year one, Hush is a good introductory book for Batman.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
I'm going to extend that a little bit further. My first trade paperback was Batman Hush. My first omnibus was the Ultimate Comics Avengers, because I really like the Ultimate line. My first absolute was Sandman Volume 1.
Oh,
Ooh,
nice.
Good choices.
Do you have
first? Yep. Sorry.
do you have
Go ahead.
all the Sandman and Absolute?
No. That was what I was talking earlier. I have the first two, and now I'm like, do I really want to continue buying this when I can downgrade and get the 3 omnibuses? I don't know. I'm still debating.
Oh, you're totally screwed on Absolute Death.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
Oh, I saw a couple months ago. I'm like, dang it.
Yeah, you should. That's one you may want to downgrade on.
Jeez, well, I had my first one was Absolute Sandman Volume 1, like you, Gio. My first omnibus was the Walter Simonson Thor omnibus.
Hmm.
See, because I make good choices.
Gary Russell says Death is re-releasing. Upon what are you basing this information?
Is that
Don't
true?
tease me, bro.
Yeah.
Gio's about to go order the other Sandman Absolutes right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Upon what are you basing this info on, Gary? This is big news.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have a comic book advisor?
He says January. Where are you getting this info?
Where is that? Yeah.
What?
In the latest DC solicits? I didn't know that.
Death is in the latest DC solicits. Wow. Gio, you have renewed life.
There you go, man. Go
Absolute Death.
Go ahead and order those other absolutes.
Thank you. You're the best chatter tonight for telling
There
me
was
that.
a post. Okay, I was out playing golf today, so I never saw anything.
They
Search the
canceled
group. All right, thanks, buddy. Well, there you go, Gio. You're all set.
Oh man, we're good. But now I'm sad because I'm reading that they canceled the Luchador figures for DC.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people pre-ordered that, so they had to cancel.
That's really disappointing. Those look pretty cool.
Luchador
Also,
Batman.
If anybody in the chat is able to get me AEW tickets, that'd be really great. They've sold out already, and I'm disappointed. Just saying. Just random off-topic sidebar conversation.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
AEW, it's a wrestling thing.
Wrestling thing.
Wrath.
I have no idea what that means.
I don't either.
It's
okay. That is awesome. Yeah. Death can't stay out of print. That's awesome. Yay.
That's right. OmniBros for the hard-hitting information you need to make your good decisions in life.
I can't believe we didn't catch that they're re-releasing that.
I know. Gary's saying it was like 3 weeks ago.
Really?
I didn't pick up on that.
Wow.
We were too busy with the underappreciated gems.
That's right. 3 weeks ago. How did we all miss that? Wow.
I would have thought Brooks would have caught that. He's a bloodhound for that.
Maybe he did, and we just didn't see it.
Yeah, true.
Well, way good. That's really great to know. Now Gio can get them all in absolute form. That's a definite... I don't know what made me get them in omnibus form. If I had to do all over again, I think I'd probably do absolute form.
Oh yeah, the absolutes are so nice.
They're really pretty.
And I want to get.
Sorry, go.
No, man, that's cool. We're a lot of absolutes where they can kind of half-ass them on special features, like Why the Last Man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those Sandman absolutes are just chocked full of special features. I mean, there was a lot of time, love, and care put into those books, and it shows in every single volume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
think the only other absolute that I've seen that comes close to it is probably the Preacher stuff.
Yeah, Preacher's nice and those big books.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else we want to find out if it's getting reprinted? Let's ask the chat.
Anything else we didn't know about or we didn't catch?
Transmet has cool extras too, Benjamin says. Oh, Omnipool, you poor guy.
Oh, man. It sucks not having taste.
Oh, don't be that harsh on him.
I'm joking. I love you, Omnipool.
Omnipool's a good guy.
He is. He's a great guy. I'm kidding. Sandman's it's a tough read. It can be a tough read. It pulls from so many things, from literature, from legend, from it can be a very tough read. And a lot of the stuff that he's referencing, it can be a deep cut. From even the DCU, he pulls from everything. Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Cain and Abel.
Never mind.
All right. Well, we've been on for like an hour and a half, and they're now talking shit about Neil Gaiman. So I think we've gone off on a bad tangent.
Oh boy. I'm sorry, everybody. I brought Sandman to the topic.
That's fine.
Real quick before we go, I kept thinking, what was I going to say? Jesus Christ, what's the name? The bookends. I really want to get the bookends, and those are whales, like super whales. So if anybody,
what bookends?
They made bookends for Sandman for the
20th
anniversary.
They are beautiful.
Oh my God, I slept on those. I saw them at a local shop and they were going for cheap, and I'm like, I don't need bookends. And now I really do want them, and they're like 400 a piece. I don't know.
Ooh,
they are beautiful, man. Yeah. I've seen them before. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They are gorgeous.
That's one of my collecting goals. I want to get the whole Sandman set with the bookends and display them. They're pricey.
They're nice though. They are nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was it. Jesus, $1,000. Damn.
$1,000.
Yeah, $9.99, and then another dude is selling them on eBay for $699.
Jeez.
Well, I'll get that Jamie Lannister pop and set it on top of one of the books while we do that.
Hell yeah.
Using that spare 23 grand that I'll have after selling all my books. Gio, where can they find you on the interwebs?
You can find me searching for Absolute Death over at A Week in Geekdom on YouTube, where I talk about anime, movies, manga, and everything else in between. That's A Week in Geekdom on YouTube.
Nice. Lou, where can they find you?
You can find me at Comics Guide 101 on Facebook and Twitter. Guys, weren't we supposed to promote a Kickstarter for an artist real quick?
We were?
The one we talked about earlier today, who he got hit by a car, and he's in real tough straits right now.
Oh.
Go right ahead. I didn't pick up on that.
What was it? It was
let me search.
Yeah, go right ahead.
It's Bill Mantlo.
Yeah.
The artist Bill Mantlo a few years ago was unfortunately hit by a car, and it has left him with long-term damage. So his family has actually started a GoFundMe to help him out with some medical stuff like that. Guys, please, I'm sure if you look it up, if you look up Bill Mantlo, a GoFundMe on Google or anything like that, and I'm sure we could always put something in after this in the description. Please go support that guy, man. It's rough out there, and it's really sad to see these classic artists once they get to old age. You know, a lot of these guys we've talked about before, they don't have health insurance and things like that. They're work for hire. Please go check it out, guys, and help the guy out. If you could donate a couple of bucks, it would be really appreciated.
It was a tweet that Christos Gage put out.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have the address or anything for this GoFundMe?
I can probably look for it. Let's see.
Well, Gio looks for it. I'm going to also pimp out. Guys, we need your help. You know that iTunes account that you check a look and that you watch us on, you know, the iTunes stuff, the stuff that all the kids are into nowadays. It really helps us out if you go on iTunes and give us a review. A couple of minutes of your time really does help us. It helps people find our stuff, and I'm not exactly sure how the algorithm works, but we really would appreciate it if you would take just a couple of minutes out of your day, 5-star review on the Omnibros Live, iTunes, and the other podcasting app on Android. I'm not exactly sure.
Podcast Addict.
Podcast Addict. We really would appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, before Jess signs out, check out some of the other stuff we've got. Sunday, we've got the Sunday morning show. That's at 12 o'clock. And at night, we have Fariha and the Fangirlz. And we'll be here next week at the same time on this day.
Posted the link.
You got
in the chat.
Oh, nice.
Good.
Yeah, they raised a couple bucks already.
Good. Whoa, we got hit in 1992?
Damn, I thought it was sooner than that.
He's been suffering a long time.
Yeah. So, yeah, Gio posted the link in the chat. If you guys can, you know, go help him out, it would be really appreciated. Poor guy. He invented Rocket Raccoon. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for posting that, Gio. Thanks for bringing it up, Lou. And I'm Omnidog. You can find me on Omnidog's Vault on YouTube and Omnidogs_Vault on Instagram. And I just posted a couple of new videos today and yesterday about absolutes. If you should buy DC absolutes, must owns and must not owns.
There you go. Good stuff, Jess.
Right. So that's it for tonight. Thank you to the chat. A great chat. We learned a lot of stuff from the chat tonight.
Yes, we
like,
did.
what did we learn? Absolute death. It's getting reprinted. That's what we learned. I have short-term memory. Like anything over a minute, I got a problem with.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks to Gary Russell, who comes up with the clutch knowledge on absolute death. So to him, we dedicated peace and love, peace and love. Thanks,
Right,
chat.
We will see you all Easter Sunday.
That's right. Happy Easter.
Mm-hmm.